Okay, so here is the drawing I drew earlier using the tutorial sheets that I talked about. So now we're just going to straight into the colouring. So as you may not have the same colours, and that's absolutely fine. Just find whatever you can that's closest to what's in the middle, reds and pinks, because you can actually layer coloured pencils over each other. So you can come up with a colour that's as close as possible. So it's darker on the inside and gets lighter towards the centre. So I'm going to start off with, I think, my lighter colour in the middle, because then I can go over that with the dark. But once you put the dark down, it's more difficult to lighten up. Possible, but much more difficult. Oh, something else you need to know that you need is one of these. It's a blending stump or something that you can blend with, because what we'll do when we're done is we will soften out the pencil and blend it in. Okay, these are available in any kind of arts and crafts store. You can get them online as well really easily, just the blending stumps I call them, the blending tool. Okay, so I'm working in this middle part here. This is where I really want to do the lighter shading. Now I'm going to work quite quickly because it is quite a large piece that I've done. As you can see from the pencil, it takes a lot of colouring. Now this is just what I would say is our first pass. So we're going to go over it and do a few layers to get it exactly how we want it. Now this is just the middle part where it's lighter. You can go over the pips because when we do the black later, we'll be going right into the middle of them anyway. Now don't worry too much, it's nature, so it doesn't need to be perfect, okay? I'm just shading it so that it's coming from the middle and sort of coming out to the edges, so that when it mixes in with the other colours it will blend nicely, and it won't be just, although there is quite a strict line on there that I've done, we don't need to do that for making it more realistic. So I'm coming in with the next colour up, that is the next darkest colour, and I'm just going to come in from here, and you can see. Now don't worry about it blending in because we are going to blend it in more later, but just get the colour down. Get some colour down on that paper. Layer over some of the lighter, that's absolutely fine. And leave a space at the edge where we will have the really dark red. Okay, we're just getting a bit pinkier, slightly redder from the middle and out. Okay, be really loose with it, have fun, don't worry too much. Right, so then we're going out to the deep red. I think actually I'm going to put some more of this lighter one down here, just to go a bit closer to the edges, because I don't want it, this is a very dark red. Now as you can see, I'm holding my pencil to the side because I'm actually shading. What I'm not doing is going in with a sharp point and colouring. You'll be there for hours, okay? Really, it's all about shading. In a minute you'll see me blend the colours in, and it will give us a real good idea of where we are with the first layer, our first pass, and then we will get into maybe correcting anything we've done that we don't like so much. Be careful as well, like I did do that then, that big sweep, but if you do too much of that, it will show up in the colour. You will just see this long swipe. So I'm doing little round circles so that it's colouring in without any streaks and lines. Keep turning your pencil so that you're not just shading from one side and then you don't get an angled tip to your pencil. Okay, I'm going to come in again with this colour. Now in the middle I am going to try and lighten that up a bit more. So as you can see, I'm using this lighter colour on top. Now this is just your normal sketching paper, and all paper has very, if you were to look at a microscope, very tiny little teeth, and some papers have more room for you to layer up pencil and others not so many. This is a very smooth paper, there isn't much tooth, so I've kind of got to get the colour right straight away. Now this is our blending tool, so we're going to go in and just blend in the colours. You can see it's even coming off a little bit, so it's kind of, can you see, how it just smudges it in a bit compared to the other side. You can see it's smoothing it out a little bit. Alright, and then we get a more realistic look of what the colour is doing. Now to do this you can also use, you actually get pencils that are blending pencils. You can also get some alcohol, you can get alcohol ink, which if I just show you, it's this alcohol, it's called Pencil Blend Zest, and you can use that to smooth out and blend your colour pencils as well. But we won't do this, we're just, this is a beginner's tutorial, so we don't need to get too advanced right now. Okay. Let's just go around, blending it all in. And straight away I can see that I definitely need to go much darker and redder around the edges, but it's better to have done a light layer of colour and then to be able to go in. Now I am going in more with the point, and I'm still doing round movements. I'm not doing lines. I'm not going, if I get the scrap paper out, I'm not going like this. Okay, it's on the point, but I'll show you on here, I'm kind of just going round like that. And that way you get more of a natural look. So, going round. I hope you can hear me. When I'm concentrating, I tend to go really quiet. So, my voice goes quieter because I'm concentrating. But hopefully you can hear me now, because I do want to get into those edges. I'm using the point of my pencil more. I don't want to be leaving too many white marks around the edges. It needs to be quite crisp, I think. A crisp contrast between that and the white. Okay. So coming in to the centre more. And as you can see, that those three different colours have given it a little bit of depth. Okay. So that's the watermelon pretty much done. So we can go in now and just blend it in a bit more. You can see how it just smooths it out compared to this side. Just, you don't see like the pencil marks quite so much, it just smooths it out. Okay, now I'm going to give it that action because that will give it the shape of the watermelon. Okay, now I'm going to do a little bit more of that middle colour coming into the centre. There we go. I don't want to go out to the edges too much because actually I have gone darker at the edges than I wanted to, but again, it doesn't matter. It's not a biggie. I think we're there with the main part now. I think we're there. So, using the same colours, I'm going to try and do the same thing with the corners. Hopefully you can see that. So the middle part is going to be the part that's the lighter colour. Then we're going to go into our medium tone, our medium colour. I should say value really, not tone. Right, there we go. There's the medium one. I think I'm going to go a little bit more out with that. And then we come to our nice bright red. Okay. End of the day, watermelon is very bright. It's like it's not quite red, but it's not quite pink. It's kind of in the middle, isn't it? Right, but it is bright. Now the thing with any kind of artwork is the difference in value that you have. Now looking at that, I would say, even though I've tried to go lighter in the middle and darker on the outside with my colours, I would still say it's not quite enough value, difference in value, to make it 3D. And that really is the key to making anything look realistic, is how light your lights are and how dark your darks are. So we're going to go in and make the edges of our watermelons much darker. And you'll start to see how it will make it come to life a bit more. Okay, so we're going to do the top edges, the outer edges, and make them much, much darker. Alright, and kind of blend it in as though it's in that direction as well. If you colour in the direction of what you're doing, it will make it look much more realistic. Okay, so now I'm coming in around the very, very edges of the watermelon, and now you can see it's starting to pop a bit because I've gone in much darker. And this is why we layer, because as you go along you can see where you need to change colours, you need to add, you know, a darker colour to bring it more to life. And it doesn't have to be dark all the way round, because again, that won't be realistic, but you could bring some dark bits into the middle a bit more, just to make it realistic as though it would be in nature. Okay, we're getting there, I think. Great. Now, coloured pencils does tend to be, if that's your choice of medium, will be your longest way of working. Acrylics is quite quick and you can layer well, it dries quickly. Watercolour is super quick. And yeah, what else was I going to do? Pastels is pretty quick as well. So this out of all the videos, this is the longer one that you will have. Right, so now we're going around the outside. Again, use your values. So I'm going to do one light layer of this colour. Okay. And then we can build up from that. Now I have only chosen this green, but I think I might just go and choose another darker green to come in from the outside edge, because the very outside edge of watermelons are actually really dark, aren't they? So don't forget to go around the edges of your little slices. Let me choose a darker green. Let's have a look. Try that one. Maybe that one. I'm just going to swatch to see what I think. So that one's quite a nice realistic plant colour and that one isn't. So I'm glad I swatched. It's always good to swatch. So, move that out of the way. That's my notes, so I don't forget anything. Right, so it's not very sharp. So I have an electric sharpener. I'm going to do that quickly. Sorry for the noise. A little bit more. Okay. So, for any of you out there that have any kind of issues with arthritis or any kind of illness that makes anything to do with your hands and wrists quite tricky, then I recommend an electric sharpener of some kind. This one, it's just one, it's not a particular brand or anything. It's just one that sorry, get my hair in the way. It's just one that I saw and liked and was in my price range. Now, the reason why I leant in there with my head is because I am using the very point and holding my pencil at the end. I wanted to get quite a clean, crisp green around the outside edge, because there is a very thin layer of that green around the outside edge. But I'm going to gently also bring it in over the top of the other green, just because it makes it more realistic if there's more shades of green in there. Nothing is ever one shade of anything. So if you have got different greens, then do that. If you haven't, then the best way to create a darker colour around the edge is to lightly colour in the main section and then go round and press a bit heavier with your colour pencil all the way around the edge, okay? There we are, we're getting there. Okay, so I'm going to do the same with this one. Just go over. There's not as much room to be as accurate, and that's fine. just go over it again. It gives it like a nice realistic colour. I am just going to go over it a bit more. I think it still needs a bit of toning in into the middle. I want it to be crisp, but not too crisp. It needs to look as though it's coming into the watermelon, that colour. Yeah, that's a bit better. Just in certain places, just bring it down. There we are, you can see that's coming in a bit more. And that will make it look more realistic if you've got that green colour in other places as well. Okay, I am going to leave that white line there. There isn't really a white line there, but I just like it. It was part of my original design, so we'll leave it there. But you don't have to. You can shade it in another green or another red colour. It's fine. Okay, so now we're just going to go in for the pips. So I'm getting out my Ivory Black 71, and it's time to just go in and do your pips. And this will really make it stand out. Now remember, they're just marks. Everything we do in art is just mark making. Lines, circles, in different ways. So I'm just going over them. I'm pressing quite hard because I do actually think they do stick out. We know watermelons because of their seeds, because of their little pips. That's why we like to draw them so much. There, see, they're really popping. I love it. I'm pressing quite hard so that they do pop. Here we are. Now, what I'm going to do is just go around the edges of some of them with this colour, because if you look at a watermelon, where they are, they will just have like a little bit of shadow round where the pips are. So I'm going to put a little bit of shadow round. Okay, just a little bit of shadow. There we go. And that again makes it more realistic. Yeah. Because they're indented, they'll be creating that little bit of shadow, and that makes it 3D. Because everything in life has light and has a shadow. Where there is light, there must be a shadow. So if you're holding this up in the light, it will have shadows around the pips where it's indented inside. And then we're pretty much done. I mean, you could go on to be more detailed yourself if you wanted to, but I'm going to leave it here. You can keep playing around. You could also, if you wanted to really make the outlines of it pop like on the original drawing, you could also get a fine line pen. I'm just trying to find a good one. And you could go round all of them with a fine line pen like that, yeah, and it would definitely pop then, and you do all your lines, but that's up to you. I quite like it just as it is. It's for me, it's got a nice feel to it. So that, remember, is from my drawing tutorials over on my website at heartanddesign.org.uk. They are very low cost. You get the free videos with them. I'm adding more and more as time goes on, so please do head over there, and I can't wait for you to join in. Please pop below in the comments if this has been any good for you. This could just be something for your journal, for your art sketchbooks, whatever you want. You can adapt it. You can have lots of pieces everywhere. Yeah. You let me see what you do. I'd love to see. So don't forget, subscribe, like, comment and share if you can. Bye everyone.